Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
I'm Sunil Gupta. I approve this message because I am so different from this guy. My parents started with nothing, and Mom became Ford's first female engineer. I started RISE, worked with Michelle Obama, and got thousands of people quality healthcare. But Trump wants to cut Medicare. Our views on women? Very different. I'm pro-equal pay and pro-choice. I'm Sunil Gupta, and if you want to send a message to Donald Trump, send me to Congress.
Are you kidding me?
This is nuts. What the
Send Trump a message. Fire the corrupt Republican machine in Delaware County. Perfetti and White. Drain the swamp of this corrupt Republican extreme team.
My granddad, Poos, was the most important person in my life. He and my grandma entered the Great Depression with a mule and a few acres of land. The mule died and the Dust Bowl killed their first and only crop. He then went to digging sewer ditches by hand. He was proud to hold the state record for the most feet of sewer ditch dug in one day by hand. I guess they kept records for that back then. He used to say to me, "Work hard and do right. Work hard and do right." That's the best education and life lesson I ever got. Like my granddad, I've worked hard. I started working at 10. I was a paper boy, a bus boy, a bag boy, oyster shucker, and truck driver. A waiter and a janitor, a clerk and a cashier. I worked at a mental health center and at Sears. But looking back, the U.S. Army and Mr. Ed Richard were what made the difference in my education. Mr. Richard was my 7th grade teacher, the first person to show me I could do it. And on my biggest day, my granddad was there with me. That was big to a poor kid who wasn't a good student. And it wasn't until I was in the Army that it all finally clicked for me. It all starts with education. I went on to start a family, several small successful businesses, and I served as an alderman in my hometown. And all of this is why, as a state legislator, I've been all about education. I imagine a day when all schools have the same great resources and buildings, when every child has the teacher they need, and every single graduating senior is ready for a job or college. Just imagine that. My granddad saying, "Work hard and do right." That will continue to be my guiding principle in Jackson as your Lieutenant Governor.
Corrupt commissioners and utility executives sticking it to families, small businesses, seniors. Bribery and kickbacks on the Corporation Commission are at an all-time high. Our utility rates are at an all-time high as well. That's no coincidence. Sandra Kennedy and Bill Mondell will change that, opposing unjustified rate hikes, making Arizona the solar capital of the world. From Corruption Commission to the Corporation Commission. Corruption busters. Democrats Kennedy and Mondell for Corporation Commission.
Outraged by what's happening in Washington?
It all starts locally.
Every county in Pennsylvania has at least one Democrat and one Republican in county office.
except Delaware County.
There hasn't been a Democrat on Delaware County Council in 40 years.
With no checks and balances, we have no rules prohibiting pay to play.
No rules stopping politicians from pocketing government contracts.
Our taxes are over 50% higher than Montgomery County.
We have the only for-profit prison in Pennsylvania, run by the brother of the Delaware County Republican boss and Donald Trump elector.
We can end corrupt single-party Republican rule. For the first time, there are more registered Democrats than Republicans in Delaware County.
If we vote, we can make history and turn the tide in Pennsylvania.
Pledge to vote Tuesday, November 7th.
These days when you search for answers, where should you turn for the folks in Kansas? For security and protecting your identity, McClendon is the man, I know he can. It's plain to see, it's our home on the range. Let's not go back to Kobach, let McClendon be the change. Fam, he knows what your protection is worth. To him, Kansas is the center of the earth. Created thousands of jobs for hard-working families. McClendon, he knows business, protecting your identity. He dang sure knows technology. Brian McClendon. Brian McClendon.
With the help of members of Congress, the drug industry began to quietly pave the way for legislation that essentially would strip the DEA of its most potent tool in fighting the spread of dangerous narcotics.
Pennsylvania's Tom Marino and Tennessee's Marsha Blackburn introduced this bill back in 2015. Well, each of them received significant contributions that year from the pharmaceutical industry.
How hard does it make your job in going after the wholesale distributors?
I would say it makes it nearly impossible.
I just don't understand why Congress would pass a bill that strips us of our authority in the height of an opioid epidemic in places like Congressman Marino's district and Congressman Blackburn's district. Why are these people sponsoring bills when people in their backyards are dying from drugs that are coming from the same people that these bills are protecting?
So much depends on our pocketbooks and paychecks.
These days, too many of us are concerned about our wages and benefits.
We're worried about access to a hospital or affordability of health care.
And our kids' success is riding on a good public school.
The solution to these problems?
To make the American dream a reality for more Alabama families.
That is the focus of Alabama Democrats.
If you share these concerns and dreams,
vote for Democrats November 6th.
For Betsy DeVos, our schools are a for-profit game of privatization. Andy Levin believes our schools should not be run by Wall Street companies. The Levin's 4 kids attended public schools, and his wife is a teacher. Andy believes in a great public education for every child, affordable college without decades of debt, community college and apprenticeships to offer workers retraining. That's why we need Democrat Andy Levin in Congress. The Principals Project is responsible for the content of this advertising. It's madness, the outrageousness of Donald Trump, the chaos around Governor Chris Christie. November 7th, send Christie and Trump a message by sending Democrats Jamie Chung and Annie Hausman to Trenton.
quiz. The censoring of textbooks and rewriting of history recently resulted in public protests. Where? North Korea? Soviet Russia? No, Jefferson County. The new school board extremists embarrassed us. Julie Williams is behind these Tea Party candidates for state senate: Tim Neville, Tony Sanchez, Laura Woods, and Larry Queen. Let's stop Julie Williams' radical agenda before it spreads to the state senate.
Massachusetts hospitals make over half of their money from taxpayers. Their profits, over $1 billion. They stash millions in Cayman Island accounts while their CEOs make millions. Now they're spending millions more of our tax dollars on deceptive ads to oppose Question 1, a vital patient safety measure to limit the number of patients assigned to nurses at one time. Profits over patients. No wonder 100% of hospital executives are saying no, and 86% of nurses are voting yes.